Here's the truth nobody really wants to say out loud. When you can't stop thinking about a guy, there's a good chance something is happening on his side too. And I'm not talking about some magical made-up idea. I'm talking about real emotions, real connection, the invisible pull that can exist between two people, even when neither person knows exactly how to explain it. You've felt it before, that strange feeling when someone keeps appearing in your mind without you trying to bring them there. Now, before you think I'm only saying this to make you feel better, wait, because this isn't about giving you false hope or telling you what you want to hear. It's about understanding what can actually happen when one person becomes impossible to forget. And honestly, he may be feeling more of that connection than you realize. You know exactly what I mean. He appears in your thoughts while you're having breakfast. You see something funny and immediately think, he would love this. A certain song starts playing, and suddenly, his face is right there in your mind again. You try to concentrate on your work. You talk to your friends. You stay busy. You tell yourself you're going to stop thinking about him. But somehow, he keeps coming back. And that's what frustrates you the most. You don't even understand why he has taken up so much space in your mind. You start questioning yourself. Why am I thinking about him this much? Does he ever think about me? Is he completely fine while I'm sitting here replaying everything? If you've ever asked yourself those questions, keep listening, because this is where things start getting interesting. You are not crazy. You are not strange. And you are not necessarily imagining the connection you felt. When two people share something emotionally meaningful, the experience doesn't always disappear simply because they stop talking, create distance, or try to move forward. Sometimes the emotional impact remains. Sometimes memories keep resurfacing. Sometimes curiosity grows instead of disappearing. And sometimes the person you're thinking about may also be remembering you in ways you cannot see. When someone stays on your mind again and again, it doesn't automatically mean that he is thinking about you every second. But it can tell you something important about the emotional impact this connection has had on you. And there may be signs that the connection affected him as well. This is where people often get confused. They assume that because they can't see what is happening inside another person, nothing is happening at all. But people can hide thoughts. They can hide feelings. They can stay quiet while remembering conversations, moments, jokes, looks, or experiences they shared with someone. A person can continue living their normal day while carrying thoughts they never reveal. That's why you should never judge someone's inner world only by what they show on the outside. And in this video, we're going to break down 7 things that may already be happening when he keeps coming back into your thoughts and when the connection has left a strong emotional impression on both of you. Not fantasies, not promises, not assumptions. We're going to look at the patterns that can reveal what may be happening beneath the silence. By the end, you're going to understand why your mind keeps returning to him, why certain memories feel so powerful, and why emotional connections can remain active even when there is distance between two people. So before you close this video, before you tell yourself to stop thinking about him again, just pause for a moment. Take a breath. Think about what keeps bringing him back into your mind. Is it a memory, a feeling, something unfinished, something you never got to say, or simply the way he made you feel when he was around? There is usually a reason your mind keeps returning to the same person. And if you stay with me, you're going to understand that reason much more clearly. Because what comes next may completely change the way you look at this connection. And this is only the beginning. Let's start with the first sign. He feels your presence in his emotional world even when you're not physically there. Even when you're not together, something can still keep the connection alive in your mind. So the first thing you need to understand is this. When you think about someone constantly, your attention becomes deeply focused on them. I know that can sound strange, so stay with me. Every time you think about him, remember a moment, wonder what he is doing, replay something he said, or imagine what what could happen next. Your mind is directing a huge amount of emotional attention toward him. And sometimes that connection can feel so strong that it seems like he is picking up on it too. Have you ever thought about someone completely out of nowhere, only to see their name appear on your phone a few minutes later? Or dreamed about someone you had not spoken to in months, and then suddenly they contacted you? Those moments can feel almost impossible to explain. Sometimes it is coincidence, sometimes it is timing, and sometimes it simply shows how strongly a person can remain connected to our thoughts and emotions, even when they are far away. When you keep thinking about him, wondering where he is, remembering conversations, and asking yourself whether he misses you, your attention keeps returning to the same person. It creates a powerful emotional pattern inside you, and that pattern can influence how you notice things, how you react, and even how you interpret his behavior. He may not literally know, "She is thinking about me right now," but he may suddenly remember you. He might feel curious about what you are doing. He might wonder how you have been. He may get an unexpected urge to check his phone, look at an old conversation, or see whether you have posted something. Maybe he cannot explain why your name suddenly came into his mind. That is what makes emotional connections so interesting. People do not always understand their own reactions immediately. Sometimes the feeling comes first, and the explanation comes later. And here is the part you really need to hear. The stronger your emotional focus becomes, the more noticeable the connection can feel to you. It is almost like knocking softly on a door without realizing you are doing it. He may not open the door immediately. He may not even know why he feels curious, but something reminds him of you. Something pulls his attention back for a moment. Now, does this mean he will message you every single time you think about him? Of course not. Real life is not that perfectly timed. People have responsibilities, distractions, fears, pride, and their own reasons for staying quiet. But it does mean that emotional distance does not automatically erase emotional impact. Your presence can remain in someone's memory even when you are no longer physically beside them. And that matters more than you might realize. Keep listening, because this next part explains why the silence between two people can sometimes make the thoughts even stronger. Think about those strange moments when you suddenly feel different and cannot immediately figure out why. Maybe you feel unusually calm. Maybe you suddenly remember someone you have not thought about in days. Maybe you feel happy for no obvious reason, or a memory suddenly appears in your mind with incredible detail. Human beings are constantly responding to memories, emotions, surroundings, and relationships. We notice patterns without always realizing that we are noticing them. We remember people through songs, places, smells, conversations, pictures, and tiny details that seem meaningless until they bring someone back into our minds. We do this all the time. We just rarely stop to think about how powerful it is. And when a person has had a strong emotional effect on you, those reminders can become even more powerful. The connection can feel louder because your mind has attached meaning to that person. Now imagine that he has experienced something similar. He could be walking through an ordinary day, completely focused on work or friends, and then something reminds him of you. A song, a phrase, a familiar place, a random joke. Suddenly, there you are again. He may push the thought away, he may tell himself it means nothing, he may continue with his day, but the memory has already appeared. And sometimes that is all it takes to reopen a door he thought he had closed. This is why you should never assume that silence means someone has forgotten you. Silence only tells you that they are not communicating. It does not give you a complete picture of what is happening inside their mind. Someone can miss you and stay quiet. Someone can wonder about you and never ask. Someone can remember you and still choose not to reach out. People are complicated like that. And if you have been thinking, maybe I am the only one feeling this, do not rush to that conclusion. Your experience is real because you are experiencing it. But his inner world can only truly be known through his actions and words. Still, there are patterns worth noticing, and one of the biggest patterns is this. When someone becomes emotionally important, your mind can keep returning to them long after the moment has passed. That is why the next thing is so powerful. He may be having more thoughts about you than he used to. When you cannot seem to get someone out of your head, it is natural to wonder whether they are thinking about you too. And sometimes when a connection has been meaningful, memories can become active on both sides. Your constant thoughts about him may not magically control his mind, but they can reveal how deeply the relationship or connection affected you. And if he was emotionally invested too, he may also find himself remembering you more often than before. Maybe he remembers something you said. Maybe he looks through an old conversation. Maybe he remembers the last time he saw you and starts replaying small details he ignored at the time. Maybe he wonders what you are doing now. Maybe he asks himself whether you ever think about him. That kind of curiosity can grow quietly. He might be busy at work, surrounded by friends, watching television, driving somewhere, or simply trying to live his normal life. And then suddenly, your face appears in his thoughts. For a few seconds, everything else fades into the background. He remembers, he wonders, he becomes curious, and sometimes he may even smile without realizing it. That is the strange thing about memories. They can appear without permission. You do not always choose what your mind brings back. A person can tell themselves they are moving on, yet one small reminder can bring the entire emotional experience rushing back. And when there has been something meaningful between two people, those memories can become especially powerful. It is not necessarily magic, it is the way emotional memory works. When someone matters to you, your brain stores far more than just their face or name. It stores the feeling of being around them, the conversations, the laughter, the tension, the comfort, the little moments nobody else noticed. And once those memories are connected to strong emotion, they can return again and again. So while you may be sitting there wondering why he is constantly appearing in your thoughts, he could also be experiencing his own version of that process. Maybe not at the exact same time, maybe not in exactly the same way, but more often than you think, meaningful connections leave traces on both people. And here is where it gets even more interesting. Sometimes, when someone keeps coming back into a person's mind, they begin comparing new experiences with old ones. Not because they consciously decide to, but because the mind naturally uses familiar experiences as reference points. He may meet someone new and notice that something feels different. Maybe she is kind, but the conversation does not flow the same way. Maybe she is attractive, but the connection does not have the same emotional depth. Maybe he hears someone make a joke and remembers how you used to laugh at something completely different. He might never say it out loud, and he might not even realize he is doing it, but memories can quietly become standards. You become a reference point in his mind, and suddenly other people are being compared to an experience he had with you. This does not mean every person he meets will remind him of you, and it does not mean he is incapable of moving forward. It means that when someone has made a strong emotional impression, future experiences can sometimes bring that person back into focus. He may hear someone use a phrase you always used. He may visit a place where you once spent time together. He may see a picture that reminds him of a moment you shared. And suddenly, the past feels close again. That is why emotional memories can be so difficult to erase. You can remove someone from your daily life much faster than you can remove them from your emotional memory. The physical distance can happen overnight. The emotional distance may take much longer. And if you have been wondering whether he ever notices the difference between you and other people, pay attention to this next idea. When someone has experienced a connection that felt unique, They do not always understand its value immediately. Sometimes they only recognize what made it special after they experience something that does not feel the same. That is when comparison begins. Not because he is deliberately searching for you, but because his mind already knows what your presence felt like. And once a memory becomes emotionally important, it can quietly follow someone into new experiences. So if you thought you were the only one carrying those memories, stay with me, because there is another powerful shift that can happen when someone realizes your absence is becoming more noticeable. You are not just a memory to him. You are a feeling. You are an experience his mind keeps returning to. And once someone becomes connected to a certain emotion inside you, it can be very difficult for another person to simply take that place. So if you keep asking yourself whether he ever thinks about you, there is a strong possibility that he does, especially if the connection between you was meaningful. And it may happen far more often than you imagine. These are not always quick little thoughts that disappear in seconds. Sometimes they are the deeper thoughts, the ones where he actually stops what he is doing and wonders about you. He may wonder how you are doing. He may remember something you said. He may think about what could have happened differently. He may even find himself asking whether you still think about him. And here is something people often overlook. When a person keeps thinking about someone, those thoughts can affect their emotional state. You have probably experienced this yourself. You think about someone and suddenly your entire mood changes. Maybe you smile without realizing it. Maybe you feel a little sad. Maybe you become excited, nervous, peaceful, or completely distracted. One simple memory can change the way you feel for the next hour. The same basic thing can happen to him when memories of you become active in his mind. He may suddenly feel happier for no obvious reason, or he may experience a strange restlessness, as if something is missing but he cannot explain what it is. He could become more thoughtful, quieter, more emotional, or simply less focused than usual. And the interesting part is that he may not immediately connect those feelings to you. He may just know that something feels different. So if you have noticed changes in the way he behaves, keep watching closely, because the next part may explain more than you expect. Sometimes, the person who is affecting someone emotionally is not even physically present. They are simply living inside that person's thoughts. Think about how your own mind reacts when someone is constantly on your mind. You can be having a perfectly normal day, and suddenly one thought about that person changes everything. You remember their face, you remember their voice, you remember something funny they said. Suddenly, your attention is somewhere else. That is how powerful emotional memories can become. And if he has his own strong memories connected to you, those memories can affect him in similar ways. He may feel good one moment and then suddenly feel that familiar pull of curiosity. He may feel motivated, then distracted. He may be completely focused on something and then lose his concentration because a memory of you appears. He might become unusually quiet, sitting somewhere with his thoughts running in the background. Or he might become more talkative than normal, keeping himself busy because he does not want to sit with what he is feeling. His friends could even notice something is different and ask him, "What's going on with you?" And he may honestly have no clear answer, because sometimes people feel an emotion before they understand its source. All he knows is that something keeps bringing you back into his awareness. Maybe it happens once a day, maybe several times. Maybe he pushes the thought away every time it appears. But pushing a thought away does not always make it disappear. Sometimes it makes you more aware of it. That is why a person can look completely normal on the outside while having an entirely different conversation happening inside their head. And this is important. Do not assume every mood change means someone is thinking about you. People have many reasons for feeling distracted or emotional. But when other signs appear at the same time, the pattern becomes more interesting. If he suddenly seems distant, unusually thoughtful, curious, or emotionally different around you, there may be something going on beneath the surface. And there is another thing that can make those thoughts even stronger. He starts noticing reminders of you everywhere. You already know how this works because you have experienced it yourself. When you cannot stop thinking about someone, suddenly everything seems connected to them. A song comes on and you immediately think, he would love this. You walk into a place and remember being there with him. You smell something familiar and suddenly an entire memory comes rushing back. You see a random joke online and think, he would laugh at that. Even something completely ordinary can become a reminder when your mind has attached strong emotions to a person. And if he has been thinking about you more often, the same kind of process can happen on his side. His brain begins making connections between ordinary things and memories of you. Maybe he hears a song you once listened to together and suddenly remembers you. Maybe he sees someone wearing something similar to what you used to wear and your image comes into his mind. Maybe he eats a certain food and remembers a moment you shared. Maybe he drives past a place you once visited together and suddenly the memory becomes vivid again. These things do not have to be signs from the universe. Often it is simply how memory works. When someone becomes emotionally important, the brain stores connections everywhere. A song becomes connected to them. A place becomes connected to them. A smell becomes connected to them. Even a simple phrase can bring them back. And once those connections are created, they can be triggered unexpectedly. This is why you may feel like you see reminders of him everywhere. Your attention has become highly sensitive to anything connected to him. And if he has strong memories of you too, he may experience his own version of that process. He might be watching a movie when a character says something that sounds exactly like you. He might be shopping and notice something you always liked. He might hear a joke and immediately think, she would laugh at that. Suddenly, you are back in his thoughts. Not because he deliberately searched for you, but because his memory found a connection. And every new reminder gives the old memory another chance to become active. That is how a thought can turn into a pattern. One reminder leads to another. One memory brings another memory. And before he realizes it, he has spent several minutes thinking about you again. Stay with me, because this is where the emotional pull can become even more noticeable. Once a person becomes woven into your memories, they can start coloring the way you experience certain moments. You begin seeing the world through references connected to them. And that can happen on his side too if the relationship left a strong emotional impression. He may not consciously walk around thinking about you all day, but little things can keep bringing you back. A movie, a restaurant, a street, a song, a familiar phrase, a picture, a certain time of day. The smallest detail can open a door to a memory. And then he is thinking about you again. This can create a cycle. A memory appears, he thinks about you. That thought creates another memory. The second memory makes him curious. The curiosity makes him wonder what you are doing now. Then he may start thinking about whether you still remember him. And suddenly, what began as a tiny reminder has become a much bigger thought. That is why emotional distance does not always mean emotional disappearance. Someone can be physically absent while still being psychologically familiar. And when a person has become familiar in that way, their absence can sometimes become noticeable too. You may notice that he seems to look for opportunities to mention you. He may remember details about you that you assumed he had forgotten. He may bring up an old joke or casually ask about something connected to your life. These small moments can tell you that the memory is still active. But there is something even more revealing that can happen when someone wants contact and does not know how to begin. He starts feeling pulled toward reaching out. This is a big one. When someone has been thinking about you repeatedly, they may eventually feel an urge to reconnect. Not necessarily because of some invisible force, but because curiosity, memory, emotion, and unfinished feelings can create a strong desire to know where they stand with you. He may want to hear your voice. He may want to know how you are doing. He may simply want to see whether the door between you is still open. But wanting to reach out and actually reaching out are two very different things. He might pick up his phone several times during the day with you already in the back of his mind. He may open your conversation and stare at the last message. He might type something, read it again, and delete the entire thing. Then 5 minutes later, he thinks about trying again. He may scroll through old messages because they bring back memories he has been trying not to revisit. He might look at your social media simply to see what you have been doing lately. Then he stops himself. He starts thinking, what would I even say? Would she think this is strange? Does she even want to hear from me? What if she ignores me? What if she has already moved on? And suddenly the desire to contact you turns into hesitation. This is where many people misunderstand silence. They assume that if someone wanted to talk, they would simply send the message. But human beings are not always that simple. Fear, pride, uncertainty, embarrassment, past experiences, and the possibility of rejection can all stop someone from acting on an emotion. He can miss you and still remain silent. He can wonder about you and still refuse to message.